everybody, this is Michelle with Country Craft Creations, and I'm here today to share with you my project for the New Year's Eve video hop. And I am really excited to share this project with you. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a pretty long time, and I finally did it. So the theme of this is to kind of take a technique or something that we haven't done before and to try it. So that's what we're doing. So I did a little experiment. My particular project is supposed to actually be made out of fabric, but I decided to try and figure out how to do it with paper. And I think I've come up with a really fun project for you. So I will have links below to the other designers who are participating, so you can go to their YouTube channels, and if you haven't checked them out before, like and subscribe their videos, and let's have some fun doing some new things. So like I said, this project, this is my prototype project, it turned out really good, is a thing called, I believe it's called a fold and stitch centerpiece, and it is supposed to be a fabric quilting project. And I have been eyeballing this for a long time, trying to figure out how I can do this. Now, we have done stuff similar to this with making cones and things, but this is a little bit different in that there is an actual kind of crease. It doesn't really make a cone. You can use this as a centerpiece. You can use this as a wreath if you want to, or a wall hanging. I chose to use it as a centerpiece. I thought it was really pretty. So I used some papers from my stash to do that, and I created this. So basically, it is roughly, I want to say, about 15 inches in diameter. Let me double check that for you. Let me move the candle here real quick. So it's fairly good size. Yeah, it's 14.5 inches roughly. But it's really pretty. And then if you take all this stuff off, I'll show you what it looks like. I kind of had to piecemeal that part together. Sorry about that. But it's beautiful in the center. So you could use this as a wreath, as a wall hanging. You could use this as a photo mat, hang it on the wall, so you could put pictures inside of here. It's just really, really pretty. And then if you add like a really pretty candle, and disclaimer, do not use flames. This is paper. It will catch on fire. Use a battery operated candle. This one is from IKEA. I love this one. You just tilt it upside down, it turns on, and you tilt it upside down, it turns off. It's great. But you want to use battery operated. Do not use real candles on this. It's paper. It's paper. I don't want anybody burning their house down. So disclaimer, do not use flames. So now that I've said that, but you could also put like a bowl in here with some candies in it. You could do all kinds of things with this. So I thought it was a real fun decorative piece. And I really wanted to see how I could adapt a fabric pattern into a centerpiece. So that's where we're going with this. So let's get started. It doesn't take that much paper to do this, and we're going to go ahead and get going. So for this, like I said, this is my demo piece. For our project today, we are going to be using the gorgeous papers from Country Craft Creations that I had leftovers from. We're going to be doing the Sugar and Spice collection. I really wanted to continue using what I had, use up my scraps, and I have, with the retreat, we made a project with this. I have made a recipe book with this, and then I also made a decor piece with this that was really fun. So I thought I'm going to continue with the theme, and I'm going to use my gingerbread. So we're going to make a centerpiece with this. Now, the one thing with this particular, this part of the project, or the one I'm going to show you today, is I didn't have enough of one sheet of paper to make it kind of uniform like this. So the one we're going to make is going to be using a couple different pieces of paper. We're going to be using these three and then another one to make up the different pieces that we're going to need. So it's going to be a little more eclectic, I think, but it's going to be really gorgeous, I think, with this paper. I mean, it's just so beautiful. So we're going to be using that. And again, this is Sugar and Spice from Country Craft Creations. And let's go ahead and get started. Let me tell you what you're going to need here. So it doesn't take a whole lot to make this. So you're going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 12 by 12, and we're going to cut that into a circle because that will end up being the base behind our piece and help secure everything. So like on the back of this, I use just a black. So that's what that one is for. We're going to need one piece. Now this can be cardstock or pattern paper that's 6 by 6. I'm going to use a solid piece of cardstock for this part, but on this one here, this piece right in the middle here, that was actually a 6 by 6 piece of pattern paper. So you can use another pattern in here if you wish. just to kind of let you know about that. And then you will need 14 pieces of pattern paper that are 4x4. Now on my prototype, I used all of the same paper because I had 3 sheets of this paper that I could use. And so it made the whole wreath look uniform. On this one here, I wanted to use my scraps up. So this is also a Stash Buster project. And it's going to look really cool. So I needed 14 pieces that are 4x4. So I did 2 of this side, 2 of this side, 2 of this side, and then I turned them over. And so actually I did 4 because I used 2 that are going to be this particular, the back pattern. So all that being said, I needed 4 pieces of paper, and I did front and back of this, front and back of this, front and back of this, and then on the other 4th piece of paper, I did just 2 pieces. Does that make sense? To make the total of 14. So basically, I did 2 of 7 designs, okay? I hope that makes sense. That was a really convoluted way of telling you what I did. So you can do however you want to do. 14 isn't easily divisible by anything, so I did 2 of 7 different patterns. But if you have 3 sheets of the same pattern paper, you can get all 14 out of those 3 sheets, and then you can make a wreath that is uniform. Okay, does that make sense? And then we need miscellaneous embellishments. So like on this one here, I used flowers to put on the joins where these pieces are together. On the one we're going to make today, I went through my stash and I picked out rhinestones that I thought would look really pretty. You can get a candle ring, bowl, whatever you want for the center, but miscellaneous embellishments. Okay, so if you do like the little flowers, the rhinestones, you will need 14 of those. Okay, so I'm going to put this off to the side. And now that I've thoroughly confused you, let's get started with the program. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make my circle. So I'm getting this 12 by 12 piece of paper, and what I'm going to want to do first is find the center of it. So I'm getting a really long ruler, and I'm going to go from corner to corner here. Now, if you have a Cricut or a Silhouette, you can just throw this in there and you can cut your circle. But I'm going to show you how to do it if you don't have a Cricut or a Silhouette. So you just find corner to corner, and that finds the center of this piece of paper. Okay, and then I found this handy dandy cool ruler that I'm going to use, and this will help us draw our circle. So it does a 12-inch circle. So all you do is in the centerpiece here, there's a hole, and you line that hole up with the center that you drew with your pencil. Okay, and then you can hold it down with your fingers, okay? And then put your pencil mark in the 6-inch hole up here. And then we're gonna just draw around a circle, okay? Just like that. I can't remember where I found this. I don't know if it was, I don't know where I found it. I think maybe Hobby Lobby, but I'm not sure. But it's a really cool little tool. So you can do all kinds of circles with this. And what's nice about it is that a compass will only go so far. And you guys have known I've used compasses before, but it'll only go so wide. This makes a full 12-inch circle, which is really cool. Okay. So I'm going to then take my scissors and I'm just going to cut it out. Now remember, this is the base. It's going to be on the bottom of our project, and it's going to sit on the table, or it's going to be against the wall, so no one is going to see this. So you don't have to be, like I'm trying to cut it as circular as possible, but if you're off a little bit, no one is going to know, okay? And I'm using artisan cardstock here, and I grabbed a piece of white 110 pound. Now, you don't have to use 110 pound. Regular artisan cardstock is 87, and it's perfectly perfect for this particular project. It's okay. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. It's just what I grabbed. Okay. And then I'm going to just cut this out. And again, you know, I'm going to be off a little bit because I'm hand cutting it and I'm doing it a little quickly, but nobody's going to see the back side, okay? Nobody's going to see it, and it's not even going to stick out from the bottom. It's going to be completely hidden by your project, okay? So I'm going to cut that out. So that's step number 1, is make that circle. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to put this off to the side for just a sec. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make our pieces. At the beginning of the video, I told you you needed 14 pattern papers that are 4x4. So you can either use, again, all one type. You can use, you know, 2 different types. Because of the scraps that I had, I ended up using several different pieces, but I've got them in order. I have 7 different patterns that I repeated. Okay, so here's the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I got another stack here, and I've got them in the order that I want them. So you will need 14 of these, whether they're the same pattern or 2 different patterns, or as I'm using 7 different patterns, okay? And then what I want to do is show you a really super quick and easy way to make a pattern so that the scoring, because we will be scoring all of these, goes a lot faster, okay? So grab a piece of scrap cardstock, cut it out at 4x4, and then what I want you to do is I want you to on the top here and on this bottom side, I want you to measure in 2 inches and make a tick mark, okay? And then measure 2 inches up and make a tick mark. And then down on this corner here, measure 3/4 of an inch up and make a tick mark, and 3/4 of an inch over and make a tick mark, okay? So these dashed lines will show you where the score lines will go, okay? So once you make those tick marks on your scrap piece of paper, then line those tick marks up, put it in your scoreboard, and then make a score, okay? Do that. And then same for the other side, okay? So we measured up from the bottom on that side 2 inches, and then so up 2 inches here, and then 3/4 of an inch over here, and then we made a score. So then when you fold that, you're going to get this shape. Then what I want you to do is cut these wings off, okay? And I want you to cut the score completely out so that it is actually a little bit wider than 2 inches, I should say. So you don't want to cut like in the score, just cut the score completely out. So go just to the inside of that score on, you know, this section here. Does that make sense? And cut it out. So when you do that, you're going to end up with a piece that looks like this. And why I wanted you to do it that way is when you line this up, you will see that the sides are a little bit more narrow than where your score marks line. You see that? And the reason why is because when we lay this down on our scoreboard, we're going to want to make sure our score goes right on the outside of that so this thing fits properly. And I hope that all makes sense. So just make sure you cut those score lines out so this becomes a little bit more narrow than it is here. Hope that makes sense. And once you do that, then what you're going to do is you're going to take each piece of paper, and you need to figure out when you fold this over, it's going to fold over either this way or this way. So you figure out where your pattern is, figure out which side you want to be like here, and which pattern you want to be up here. And then so like this one here, I want it to fold like this. So I'm going to take my pattern on the back and I'm going to put it on the back side, okay, of where I want that. And I'm going to line that corner up, and I'm going to just grab a couple clips just to help it stay. And then on the back side, because we're going to score it how we're going to fold it, right? I'm going to line this up on my scoreboard, and I'm going to put the pattern right to the edge, not in the groove. This red line is the midpoint of my scoreboard, and I'm not putting that line in the groove. I'm putting it right to the edge of that hill there. Okay, so let me see. I hope you can see that. So it's not in the red, it's right to the edge, right there. Okay, and then that way when you score it, you're going to score right to the outside of that pattern, and it will fold properly. Okay, so then you just turn it over, line it up so it's not in the groove. Okay, that edge of the pattern is right to the edge of that ridge, and then score down. Okay, and then I'm going to take this off, and then that's going to be, And I just finger folded. I did not burnish these scores too much, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I am going to distress these with a little distressing ink on the edges. I think that's gonna look pretty. So I'm gonna go along the edges here, all four. Like so. And then I'm gonna go on the folds on the outside, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold this over a little bit so that we have a gap and it has that kind of rounded shape. You don't want to go too far because then it'll fold flat. So wherever you think it's kind of pleasing to be puffed up a little bit, okay? And then I'm going to take a little bit of glue. All right. And I'm going to fold that over. And then I'm going to grab another clamp and I'm just going to let that sit and take, okay? And let it dry. And that's how you do this. So let's do one more. This is going to be, let's say the front, and the front is this part here that's showing here, and this is the back side here, okay? So I'm going to take my pattern again. I'm going to put it in the back. All right, I'm going to line that up. I'm going to use my clamps. And I'm going to line this up so that my pattern is right to the edge of that ridge before the score line there. And this is why I put a red line here through it so that I can line it up top and bottom, okay? And then I'm going to score, and then I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to line it up again. And I'm going to score, okay? Take my clamps off. Okay, this is the top here, so I want these to round up. I'm going to use I'm just going to do a little distressing on the edges. I'm not really doing a whole lot. I'm just taking the white off the edges. That's all I'm doing. Okay, and then I'm going to do the outside here just a little bit. Okay, and then just make sure when you do this that you fold your points the same direction. So if you folded the right one over the left one, just make sure on every single one you do it the same direction, okay? And then I'm just going to add a little dot of glue here. And then fold it over where it's pleasing to me. And then use my clip to hold it in place. And there's my second one, okay? So we need to do this 12 more times. And because I don't want to bore you to tears with that, I'm going to go ahead and do that and get it done. And then I will be back and I'll show you how we put all of this together. Okay, so I have all my pieces made, and they are all inked, and some of these, as you can see, we're still drying, so I still had clamps on them, but I think we've got them pretty dry now, so I can go ahead and take the clamps off here. And then what we're going to do is I've got them in the order that I want them in. Okay, and I think this is going to turn out really pretty. I just love this. And then we're going to grab our 6x6 piece of paper here, okay? And I'm going to try not to get these out of order here, okay? We're going to start about 1.25 inches down in the middle of this 6x6 piece of paper. So I'm just going to I'm not really going to draw on it, but I'm just going to line up my ruler here so I can see like where about 1.25 inches is and where the center is, okay? So roughly like that. I'm going to take my very first piece here, and what we're going to do is we're going to just start laying them down. And I'm going to start roundabout in the middle. It doesn't have to be like super accurate on this one. This is basically just a place to put them as we glue them down, okay? So let's see. If I got it roughly about 1.25 inches down, and then I'm going to eyeball where I need to put my glue on the back side of this, okay? And again, this is just to put the pieces down. This is not going to show or anything like that. And I'm just going to lay this down straight as I can, okay? And try and spread that glue down in there. Okay. And get that dry, or get that in there. And then if you see if it's popping up a little bit, you can add a little bit more glue down there. But basically this is just for like making a base, creating a base to adhere our pieces on, okay? All right, so then once you get the first one down, then it's basically you're just gonna butt these things up against each other. So what I did was I'm putting them down right next to each other. So I'm kind of making sure that they're nice and straight and they're right next to each other at the folds here. And then I'm matching the points here where the pieces fold. I'm just kind of matching those points. And again, I'm just kind of eyeballing where my glue is gonna go. And I'm gonna put the glue on there. And I'm gonna get this where I can see it. And making sure that it's nice and straight and right up against each other. Okay, gluing that down. You can use your bone folder in here to kind of make sure that you got a good stick. Okay. All right. And then that's it. Okay. So we're going to do that all the way around. So I'll show you again one more time. I'm just going to go around and just do that again. Okay. And we're just going to completely go down. Now, just remember when you do this, make sure that the points here where the folds start match up, and make sure that when you press this down, you know, they're flush. The folds are lined up nice and tight with each other. Make sure they're not overlapping and they don't have a huge gap. Now, because this base is only being done, you know, on one side, you're not going to have, you know, these will be kind of separated, but that's going to be fixed once we get that circle behind it. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to continue around and do that. And then I will come back and we'll finish this up. Okay, so I'm down to my last piece, and I've tried really hard to make sure that they're all nudged in really nice and tight against each other and glue them all down. And then we've got this last little bit. Now you may, depending on your scoring and your cutting, it may be a little bit bigger or smaller than, well, this one is a little bit bigger than the space that I have. So I'm just going to just nudge it in just a little bit. And, you know, nobody's ever going to see it, especially with all these patterns. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of tuck that in there. And you can even nudge your folds just a little bit if you need to. And just pop that guy right in there. Okay, so I'm just going to do that right here. Just like so. Okay. Make sure we're good. Okay. Get my bone folder in here. It's a gorgeous project when you get it all done. I just think it's just beautiful. So there you go. So we got that in there. And everything is good and everybody's happy. And there's our piece. So then what we're going to do is we're going to very carefully glue the back side down. And I'm literally going to put glue on that, all over that. I'm going to put it on there, and then I'm going to put it upside down and then use my bone folder to, you know, press everything down. So I'm just putting glue on my big circle here. All right. And I suppose if you wanted to, you could use score tape on this as well, but I want to make sure that this really sticks well. So I'm just using lots and lots of glue, and then I'm just going to eyeball center this because this is not going to show, okay? So just like that. I did get a little bit of glue on there, but that's okay. And then I'm going to, yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm just going to start sticking that down. Okay, so I'm just going inside and I'm just pressing that down on the glue. Okay, and I'm just going to go around till I know that everything is stuck down really well. Use your fingers, get it in there. Okay, just like so. I'm just going to keep going around and making sure that everything is pressed down good. And if you need to, you can go back in and add some more glue. Okay, and I'm just going around and making sure. Isn't this pretty? Oh my God, I really love this. I really do. I think this is gorgeous. And I was kind of worried that it might be a little bit busy with different papers, but I gotta tell you, I think I'm loving it. I think it's really pretty. And then once we get the centerpiece in there, I think it's gonna be absolutely adorable. All right. I think we're good. I think we're good here. I'm just gonna go through and make sure, and then I'm gonna kind of tilt it up and look. I think I done did it. Okay, cool. There you go. So there's that. So we've got the piece done. This is basically, that's the construction of it. And then now it's just decorating. So what I'm going to do is I think, and I don't know, I might, yeah, those are kind of too small. So I'm going to check my stash and I will be back. All right, so I just went through my stash and I decided that the rhinestones that I picked out were not big enough. I didn't like it. So I went through, I found some flowers. So I thought, well, let's mimic what I did on my prototype. And this one I used red flowers. On this one I'm going to use white flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and literally just glue them down and put it right over that join. All right, and we're just going to do that. Now, other ideas for this, you could do buttons. You could do, you know, of course, all kinds of different kinds of flowers. You could do, you know, snowflakes, or, you know, depending on your project, you know, and depending on the papers, you could do, you know, hearts. So any little kind of embellishment that you want to put on here. I also thought this paper is, you know, kind of on the busy side, so I didn't want to do something too fancy, but if you had something that was a little more, you know, like a plain kind of paper, something that didn't have, whoops, a lot of pattern to it, you could punch little holes and then tie bows through them. I thought that would be pretty. You could do ribbons, whatever, you know, your little heart desires. So, yeah, I'm just going to add these little flowers, and I think the white kind of gives it a nice little pop here, like so. And you guys, pretty much this project is done, and I think it's just gorgeous. So I'm going to show you here in just a sec, once I get these flowers on, what it looks like when it's all put together with like a candle wreath in there or a bowl or something. So I will finish this up and then I will be right back with that. Okay, y'all. I have put my little flowers in here. I had this pretty little candle wreath that I decided to kind of see what that would look like. Put the candle in there, and isn't that just a cute little centerpiece that you could do? You could also take, and if we take the candle out, we could put, well, that's a little bit too big, but you could put like a little bowl of candy in there. That bowl is a little too small for this, but this was cute. It says Baking Spirits Bright, so you could put that in there. I just think this is a really cute little project. Let me put the candle back in there. Really cute for a centerpiece. You could do all kinds of different things with it, depending on the holiday. You could use different papers. I think this would be really cute if you did like a Valentine's Day theme. You could put some candles in here. You could do it for, you know, any kind of party. Halloween theme would be really cool. And then stick a candy bowl in the middle of it. I mean, wouldn't that be fun? And then you could have like little skeletons hanging out ooh, that would be cute, don't you think, guys? With me and my Halloween, I think I should do that too. Okay, so that's my project. This is my New Year's Eve project for Country Craft Creations. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I hope it made sense and I didn't confuse you too much. It's really easy to do, and it's really fun, and depending on the papers, you can have quite the centerpiece. You could also, like I said, you could hang it and do it like a wreath, do all kinds of stuff with it. You could put pictures in the middle of it, whatever you want. So anyway, that's my project. So go check out the other designers from Country Craft Creations who are also working on these projects. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Have an awesome day, and I will see you next year. Bye-bye, guys.